Let's now shift focus to India. On the 23rd of March, multiple media houses across India ran one story. Will the city of Bhilwara in Rajasthan become the next Italy? Almost 20 days later, the story has completely changed. Bhilwara has only reported one COVID-19 case in the last 9 days, all thanks to a massive containment operation that is now being hailed as the Bhilwara Model. The first case was reported on March 19th. The district administration immediately sprung to action and imposed a curfew under Section 144. The patient was a doctor, making the situation all the more worrisome. People were asked to stay at home, but essential services remained open. This was phase 1 of the Bhilwara model. Phase 2 was a complete lockdown. The city and the district borders were sealed with checkpoints, and a similar request was made to neighbouring district administrations as well. The idea was to geographically isolate this virus. There was a complete ban on movement of private vehicles, and special containment and buffer zones were set up. These zones became the focus points for the administration. The next step was the identification of 6 hotspots in the district. Teams were then dispatched to these hotspots to identify suspected cases. Disinfection was also being done on a massive scale. Containment zones, ambulances, police vehicles and public offices were regularly disinfected to prevent any form of community transmission. The district managed to expand its quarantine infrastructure by roping in the hotels as well. 27 hotels with more than 1,500 rooms were turned into quarantine centres. The number of beds in district hospitals were doubled and 22 hostels were converted into isolation wards. Special teams were created for screening residents with one supervisor assigned for 10 teams. All people with a history of foreign travel were then screened. A 24-hour control room was established in coordination with the state government and the World Health Organization. The focal point of this exercise was the private hospital in which the first case was reported. All outpatients and workers at this hospital were tracked down and screened. This was a massive exercise by all means. Take a look at some of these figures. 3,800 personnel were deployed for this operation. More than 4 lakh homes were surveyed and 22 lakh people were screened. To put this number in perspective, the entire district only had 24 lakh people according to the 2011 census. Bhilwara is also testing much more than the rest of India. More than 17,000 people have been tested until now. And the result is on your screens now. Just one new case in 9 days. India's Union Cabinet Secretary has touted this as a model worth following. As the lockdown extension looks imminent, we could see the model implemented in multiple districts across India. Now let's move on to our next story. Bhasha Mukherjee, who was crowned Miss England in 2019, has taken up the role of a junior doctor in the NHS. Amid the coronavirus pandemic, we at WION spoke to her exclusively. Listen in to what she had to say.
There were thousands of doctors returning to work who were retired doctors, and one of my colleagues reached out to me, not in a way to guilt trip me or anything, but just to give me a picture of what was really going on in terms of how long the shifts were that they were putting in and how much pressure they were under. And my natural response was, well, I want to be part of that and join in. The more hands, the better, really, to share the load. That's what I was thinking. It does give me vibes of what I imagine must have been the case, during World War II or One. It's the British here. They have got an attitude of keep calm and carry on, and I can see that's exactly how they're dealing with the current situation. There was no doubt about it that I wanted to be back home, to be with my family and be at home in my known environment. I don't regret doing that. In terms of uncertainty of how things are in this country versus where I was in India, where I was safer in comparison, it's all relative. The safety is all relative at the moment. The numbers are growing in every country pretty much, so it was only going to be a matter of time before things would have escalated wherever I would have been. In terms of, do I regret the decision to go back to work at a time like this? I don't regret going back to work, but I sort of do feel anxious it does feel like going onto the battleground. I'm sure you've heard of stories of soldiers from the wars. They were excited to join to serve their country. They have that feeling of patriotism and, national pride, and all these things play a part. But then, of course, you feel the butterflies about actually going there and starting the job itself. So, of course, I feel that, but no regrets.